I'm a male, and when I was younger, when this occurred, I remember all of the details vividly, and it took place at the Home Depot in my city. I should mention that I used to go to Home Depot a lot with a family friend of my parents, who has been like a handyman to us for years and still is to this day. When I was younger, in my late elementary years, I used to be into handiwork and helped out around the house when he came to do projects during the summer. One time, I was going to Home Depot with him, and I remember at the time that I used to know the store like the back of my hand, as I had gone with him many times before. This one time, I had to use the restroom, and our handyman slash family friend said that he would be near the paint section when I came out, which was a few aisles down. I remember not thinking too much of it as I went to the bathroom as nobody was there. While I was in the bathroom stall, I remember hearing the main door open and hearing somebody walk in. I did not panic, as I assumed the person was just there to use the restroom like I was. I remember there were many stalls in this bathroom that were open, but I noticed the guy's feet just standing in the middle of the bathroom floor, between the bathroom stalls and the sinks, just facing toward me. I still did not have any fear yet, as I was young enough to still be naive of any danger. At this point, I was finishing up and was just opening the stall door, and I saw that he had a wide grin and he was facing toward me. I did not recognize this guy in the slightest bit, and was confused as to what he was doing, when he then told me something like, "Hey kid, I have some Domino's pizza at my house. I brought an extra one just for you." He then told me that he had spoken with my dad, who had said it was fine if I came with him, and that he will pick me up from his house later, as my dad had a sudden work issue. I remember thinking to myself that the person that I was with was not my dad, which should have been the first red flag to me, but was not. I assumed that somehow this guy had known my dad, and that my dad told the family friend that I had been going with him. Next, he told me to come with him, and he said that we had to be fast because the pizza was going to get cold. I was honestly excited for the pizza, and I did not think of him as a threat because I was told by my parents to be aware of danger if someone was offering candy from a white van. But for some stupid reason, I thought it was fine because he was offering me pizza, which seemed to me as less sinister at the time. He then grabbed my hand tightly, and we both walked out of the bathroom, and he said, "Just come with me. It'll be the most fun day this summer, and we can invite any of your friends from school." We were walking really fast, and we were about to cross the checkout line when one of the workers asked if I knew the guy who I was with, and stupidly enough, I said yes. Looking back at it now, I wish that I would have said no, and to please get me away from him. We then walked out the store, and as he was situating me in his pickup truck, I hear a loud voice say, "Hey, who the hell are you? Let him go now, and get the hell out of here. The police are on their way." The guy let me go, and he got into his truck and sped away. It turned out that the family friend got word that I was being kidnapped, as a worker nearby was stocking wood products, and saw the whole ordeal happen from when my family friend said that he would be in the paint section, to me entering the bathroom, to then being taken from the bathroom by the creep who was holding my hand. According to the worker's statement, the creepy dude was actually waiting nearby for the family friend to leave the aisle to make his move, and once he came out of the bathroom with me, was when the worker decided to go and tell my family friend over in the paint section that I was being taken by someone, who was not related to me. As for the creep, the police were not able to come up with information about him until a few weeks later, when there was another attempted kidnap from near a playground in the adjacent city to mine. When I saw this on the news, I told my parents that I recognized him and that he was the one who tried to kidnap me just weeks prior from the Home Depot. This time, he was arrested and prosecuted for attempted kidnapping of another child, and my parents went to the police station to inform them that it was the same guy who had tried to kidnap me weeks prior. In retrospect, I feel stupid because I still did not know that I was being kidnapped, even when he was getting me into his pickup truck, as it was not a white van, and was confused when I heard the family friend shouting for me. It just goes to show that parents must work better to ensure that their child is aware of any threat that can come in any shape or form, besides just candy and a white van. As I am writing this, I am in college now, but I feel like I remember this like it was yesterday. It is really important to watch your kids, even if it is just for a few minutes when they go to the bathroom, as I was almost successfully kidnapped. If it had not been for the other worker nearby, I do not think that I would be here today, and that it would have had a completely different outcome, far worse than what did actually occur. I wish that one day that I would be able to find the worker and give him a huge appreciation for speaking up when he did, as it may have just saved my life. I should start off this story by saying that I am a 5'1" female in her mid-20s, renting out a room in a family's house. The family was out of town on a vacation trip when this incident occurred. I was shopping at the Home Depot a few weeks ago, and I remember that I had to go late in the night, as I had to buy ant repellent for the kitchen and my bedroom, as where we live it is a very warm climate, so therefore we do get ants constantly. Anyways, that's besides the point. I had to go late even though I did not want to, because I do not live in one of the safest areas. I remember when I was trying to hurry up that I am a female and that I already do not like to go outside alone at night. Unfortunately, in our area, Home Depot is the only store that was open late in this night, so there is nowhere else for me to go to buy this ant repellent as all the other stores were closed. While I was shopping, I happened to notice a man following me around the store, and it would always seem like he was in the same aisle as I was, no matter where I went. I was just getting done at the cash register when I noticed the same man checking out in the next checkout lane for me. By this point, I decided to power walk to my car, as it was parked on the other side of the parking lot, as I was forced to cross the store to find what I needed. My car was about 50 feet away when I heard fast-paced footsteps coming, not too far from behind me. I turned around and noticed the same guy following me. He seemed to be about 6 foot and rather a bit overweight, with a scrawny beard. I began to run to my car and managed to get in just in time and drove away. I thought it was over from that moment I left the parking lot. I was driving back home when I noticed headlights rapidly approaching the rear of my car. I was trying to be rational and just continue to drive and not let it affect me. But after taking a few turns and only being a few streets from my house, I glanced back in the rearview mirror to notice the same car following me. At this point, I figured that it was the same guy from the store, and I began to worry, and if I should not stop at my house in case he found out where I lived. I decided to speed up and take about 8 or 9 turns to try to lose him. I decided to open the garage door and speed into it and close it behind me after I made the 9th turn back onto my street. I was just lucky enough to have thought to have lost him. Just before the garage closed fully, I thought I saw a car pass, but I had no idea if it was the same car or not. Maybe it was not, because it never slowed down as it passed by. When I got into the house, I made a police report and closed all my blinds and locked my front door. That night, when I went to bed, I thought I heard the sound of a thud outside of my window as I was attempting to fall asleep. I was scared to look outside to see if anybody was out there, but that all changed when I heard the shattering sound coming from across the house. It seemed like it was the sound of my kitchen window breaking, and not too long after, I heard footsteps walking around my kitchen. I wanted to scream so badly, as I had no weapons, and I just assumed that it was the same guy from the store. I slowly tiptoed to lock the bedroom door. As quiet as I was trying to be, I think he heard me walking as he began to sprint to my bedroom door and said in a creepy voice, quoting Joe Pesci playing Harry from Home Alone, "I know that you're in there and that you're all alone." I had no idea what to do other than to climb out of the window and run down the street while remembering to take my phone to call the police. After I had run down the street, I began to dial 911 and hid behind one of my neighbor's large oak trees surrounded by shrubs in his front yard and whispered to the operator everything that was occurring. Eventually, after maybe 3 or 4 minutes, I saw sirens in the distance, and I never felt so relieved to see 3 police cars come in front of my house. At that moment, I began to sob and ran over to the officers. I told them that the guy might still be in the house, and the 4 other officers stormed into the house. I began to talk to the officer next to me until, after 10 minutes, the police came out and said that there was no sign of anyone. However, there was a note that said, "I will be back when you least expect it." That was just laying on the kitchen counter, and the window next to the back door was completely shattered, with a brick on the floor. A week later, I felt like I could no longer live in that house, as I was scared that he would come back and find me. I moved across the county to a new studio apartment. I feel much safer now, but still think about what his malicious intentions were, and hoping that he gets caught before doing anything else to another woman. I have never seen him again, and I hope that it remains that way.